Start your engines! Here's a 2014 GMC 2500 HD full-size four-wheel drive pickup, and I'm going to tell you the truth about it. Now, if you've been watching me any length of time, I'm not a big fan of GM. Their quality's been going downhill quite some time. But you want a large pickup, we're kind of in different territory then. This is a 2500. They are much better built than their lower end trucks. This particular one's a 2014 2500 HD. Big old pickup truck, 4x4. Really not a bad truck. And why? Because it's a 2500 HD to begin with. It's got a very reliable 6-speed automatic transmission. They've been making it since 2005. It's called the 6L90. Before it was the 6L80. It's a beefed up version. It's much stronger than the 6L80. That's what the HD stands for here. It is a better transmission. It's beefed up more. It can take the load. 4x4, this thing is great for towing. Does not bother the transmission. This baby can tow 13,000 pounds. Got a nice bed, and in this case, it's been used, it's been worked. Still in pretty good shape, even though it's 7 years old. As you can see, the paint's held up quite well. We look inside, nice black interior. We'll start her up. Yeah, it's still got a key. And we can see it's got 113,649 miles and still runs pretty good. And as we check out the back, unlock the doors, plenty of room in the back for people. This isn't cramped. There's lots of room, but it is kind of utilitarian here. It doesn't have vents coming here to cool the back seat people. I would have put that in. And as I said, this is a four-wheel drive version. There's the drive axles on the front. Everything on it still solid as can be. Nothing's leaking, except the air conditioner's dripping condensation. You expect that. It's hot and humid. We almost had a hurricane here. And it's got plenty of power. This has 360 horsepower. Now, some people complain about that. The owner, who's a Texan, was laughing because his father, who was an old-time Texan on a ranch, said, "What are you complaining about, son? We used to tow big old horse trailers full of stuff with our old flathead V8 Ford pickup trucks. And those old flathead Fords only put out 106 horsepower. He said, "Son, what are you whining about? You got 300 something in this thing." I'm sure it's a heavy vehicle. It's four-wheel drive if you want to. But hilariously enough, the owner of this truck said all the trucks he's ever owned were all four-wheel drive, and he can't remember ever using the four-wheel drive. He just likes the idea of having it if he needs it, but he's never actually remembered using the four-wheel drive in it. So let's hop in and give it a spin and see how those horses go. Yeah, I like that it has a key. Starts right up and away we go. Now, this is a big old truck. You're sitting up high, got a lot of clearance, and even though it's still got the original shocks on it, still rides decent. Solid brakes. And as we corner's good. The truck, corner's like a truck. It's not a race car. Well, let's see how it takes off. We got it in drive. Considering how it's a four-wheel drive, we'll step on it. It goes. It doesn't rocket off the line. You can see it shifts smooth. It doesn't have any problem shifting. Not exactly a racehorse with all this weight, but it certainly gets out of its own way. It's a big old pickup truck that 100-something thousand miles later still going strong. Now, I did notice the check engine light's on, so let's check that. Let's just plug it in. In it goes. Data stream's working. And we'll do an auto scan. See what's going on here, what the code is. So we look up and down, it's only got one fault. So we'll check that out. It's just a minor BS thing, right temperature control, feedback circuit open. These computer controlled air conditioning systems, they're just so complex. A lot of times they'll trip codes, but it's blowing cold air. Who cares? Now, while we're here, I'll look through all the data. See how it looks. So far it's good because they're all black. They change colors if there's bad data. The vehicle's actually in excellent shape. Normally I say GMs, but this is the GMC 2500 HD. If you buy the higher end ones, they're better vehicles. They expect heavy duty use. They build them just like the transmission. This is the strong version of the transmission. This is the 6L90, not the 6L80. The 6L80, they have them Cadillacs, different things. It's a weaker version. This is the heavy duty version. You get the 2500 HD. In this case, you get the heavy duty transmission that's been beefed up. And how many problems has this guy had in 110,000 miles? None. it still shifts perfectly fine. Now as we look under the hood, it's got the big old 6-liter V8 engine. You can see, even though it's a big V8, there's lots of working room in case you need to work. Not a hard to work on engine. The engine works fine. Transmission shifts like a dream. The AC is still freezing cold. This 2500 GMC is a good truck. Now you go to the cheaper ones like a 1500, no, they're not built as well. And if you're going to even heavier duty or GMC trucks, on those you can get a choice of almost 24 different types of transmissions. Because if you're thinking heavy duty, then GMC changes. GM and their other regular trucks, they've had a lot of problems with the rear ends, all kinds of problems. Engines wearing out, but the GMC heavy duty ones, yes, they don't sell the volume. It's not a volume thing, but it's heavy duty for people that want a commercially viable truck. They're good trucks then. Now F-150 is taking over. There's the guys that buy Rams, they get sold on a line of good from the past. They're not such great vehicles anymore since Fiat took over. Sure, they're their own brand now, Ram, but the F-150 line knocks those over. But when you get into large trucks, heavy duty trucks, GMC does a decent job on that, as witnessed by this 2014 2500 GMC. Guy's done very little to it except change the tires when they wear out, brake pads, engine's never been touched, transmission's never been touched, all-wheel drive system's never been touched. No arguing, it's got plenty of room in the front, in the back seats, and in the bed. And sure, it's no speed merchant even though it's got that Z on the back of it. It's a heavy duty truck. They're not racing machines. So now you know the truth about this heavy-duty GMC 2500. Many people will be shocked that Scotty doesn't say, what a piece of junk, don't buy it. Because it is their heavy-duty truck. It is better built. 7 years, 100-something thousand miles, still runs pretty much like new. But of course, it's a gas hog. All giant trucks are. Now, the EPA doesn't require to test heavy-duty trucks. But in this case, this thing gets about 11 miles a gallon in town and about 17 on the highway. It's a big truck, and it sucks gas like a big truck too. But much to its positive side, it hasn't fallen apart like a Chinese motorcycle, and it still runs, rides pretty much like it did the day it was brand new. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Jackalog says, any tips to prevent keyless cars from getting stolen? Yeah, you know, when you push your button, it sends out a signal, right? So what you could do if you wanted is, a lot of guys now, they're putting tin foil around most of their key, and then they just point the part that doesn't have tin foil at the car, and it'll open it, won't broadcast it all over the place. When you do start your car, then you drive away. You don't want to just lock and unlock your car all the time in strange places, because let's say you go to a parking lot and it's one of those big office buildings where there's many layers. My advice is park as close to the middle as possible. If you park at the edge, somebody might be hiding on the other side of the wall where they're trying to pick up stuff to steal it. If you have a really expensive car, my advice is don't let the valet guys park it, because they could just be copying it. They could just get your key and they can just get the signal, then they could reprogram it and later steal the car if they wanted to. So stay away from valet parking. Who knows what those guys are doing? You know, a lot of them are kind of shady looking anyways. And all they got to do is go out and buy themselves a $1,500 scan tool that can reprogram keys, and then they can be looking at, well, I want that Lexus. And so all they do is they see your Lexus, they can get the information, and then all they do is go out and buy a blank Lexus key from eBay or Amazon, and they can reprogram and later steal your car if they want to. So stay away from all that stuff too. Scotty, how come your forehead is so far back? Well, it's a combination of two things. I'm old and I'm intelligent. Even when I was in kindergarten, you could see pictures of me. My forehead was right about here in kindergarten. So it's only moved back a few inches. I still got most of my hair, you know. Guys my age, a lot of them weigh 375 pounds. They're completely bald. They're falling apart. Their brains don't work anymore. I'm still going along. I just stay away from mirrors, you know. Advice from Scotty. As you get older, stay away from mirrors. They're not your friend as you age. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.